Ocean man, take me by the hand, lead me to the land that you understand. Ocean man, the voyage to the corner of the globe is a real trip. Ocean man, the crust of a tan man and by the sand, soaking up the thirst of the land. Ocean man.
Hello everyone, it's me, your podcast person. Today I'm being joined by a couple people, including my co-host. Hello, co-host.
What's up, my people?
And then we have a couple guests from Team Eclipse, including PK, the coach,
Howdy.
and DeBunnynator,
Hola.
and also Yeast, who isn't here yet. So, yeah, you know,
Get good, Yeast. Get good.
yeah, seriously.
That song reminds me, the intro song reminds me of that Glad You Came song.
Yeah.
The song I'm talking about. I thought it was like a warped version of that at first, like with some sort of effect on it, but
Yeah, understandable. So, what are some of the topics we have today? Let's get started.
Most importantly, today we're gonna try to talk about, Overwatch moving into 2018, the new year being a few days away. Also, we're gonna talk about different experiences in the game, from going from playing just ladder solo queue to playing on a team, and we're gonna get some coaching perspectives on here from PK. Also, we're gonna talk about the most lucrative, spicy topic of all: prison.
All right, yeah. I just want to remind everyone
prison.
You can do exclamation point podcast in chat, and you will get a Discord link. You can join that Discord server, go into the lobby channel, and we'll pull you in when we have a chance to ask any questions you have for our guests. So it's a thing you can do. It's pretty popular.
You can ask Bunny about prison.
It was
Think
just
about-
county, okay? It wasn't
It's
like federal.
it's prison. It's still prison.
he's gone. He's going away.
Worth
Locked up.
all the way.
Shitty
Maximum
part is,
security.
That wasn't even my fault, though, okay?
Okay, so
Well-
let's just backtrack a little bit. You were speeding, and that wasn't your fault.
Let's talk
That's-
about the jail experience.
That's
Yeah,
not
let's start
exactly.
off with this.
That's not exactly what I went in for. I went in for a failure to appear because my lawyer told me I didn't have to go to court because he would go in my place, and then he never showed up.
That is
Oh,
an
okay, so
unfortunate situation, but you still went to prison, and I just wanted to point that out. What was your experience like? What are some of your favorite moments while you're in prison?
Oh, the food, it was wonderful. I got this lovely sandwich with this piece of bologna that, they just let it sit in dirt for a day or two, kicked around a little bit, put it on bread with a negligibly small slice of cheese.
is your mic okay, dude? Are they gonna put your mic in prison?
They might have to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very interesting. PK, what are your thoughts about going to jail as a coach, from a coach perspective?
From a coaching perspective, I would give some tape of some other jail professionals. There's a wonderful documentary series called Trailer Park Boys, where the three main characters are often in and out of minimum security prison. So, if you've never seen that show, check it out on Netflix.
Shout out to Netflix, by the way.
It is hilarious.
Canadian television at its best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty wonderful. What a great show.
I remember the days when that show was, basically unknown to the US, and it was pretty much only showed on Showcase, which was a local Canadian network that barely had any viewers outside of Atlantic Canada. But
It made its way onto DirecTV had some sort of exclusive channel, and because I remember my grandfather of all people showed me, what was the year? It's before I graduated high school, 2009.
probably
he might have showed
2000,
me.
2007
2010,
was when
he
it
might have
started.
showed me. In Canada.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then even after even a couple years after that, when it was in the U.S., it was this on this niche channel on DirecTV, and it just I think it made its way onto Netflix. That, like many shows, it made its way onto Netflix and just blew up.
Yeah,
Wait.
it's what, buddy?
You're telling me there was a whole channel dedicated to nothing but Trailer Park Boys?
No, I'm sure it had other shows too, but that
Yeah,
was the
it's
only show I cared about.
it was
I'd
kind of
go
like
over to my grandpa's house and watch it with him. It was hilarious.
in Canada it was on Showcase, which is essentially like a budget network. It's something that you get like with your basic cable package, along with like I don't know, like usually like history TV and like the 3 or 4 news networks that were popular, and
Okay.
you know one kids channel and the TV Guide channel. Like if you paid like $20 back in the early 2000s, you'd get like this stripped down like 480p cable.
That sounds good to me. I
Yeah,
watch
yeah.
Trailer Park Boys all the time.
But that was it. But that's what it started off as. It was like literally just this like garbage baloney. But yeah, you know what? Like if you really want to know what jail's like probably not the most accurate show to watch, but probably very akin to Bunny's experience.
No, not even a little bit.
No,
No,
you weren't smoking dope and getting drunk in prison. Playing
man.
badminton.
If I had alcohol on me when I was in jail, it would have been way better.
Helps pass the time. What's your
Absolutely.
thoughts on prison, Rocky?
My thoughts on prison. Someone who is a very respectful human being. I think I want to buy a truck. All right, when I'm rich. All right, and I feel like that's directly related to going to prison, and I just wanted to say that. So that's basically my thoughts. Yeah.
All right.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, what?
It's because Hyper's not here, so we can't bring up any of the fresh Hyper memes about him wanting to be rich and buy a truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
boy.
so he has to kind of fill for the Hyper memes.
Personally, I'm not a bad boy like Bunny. All right, so like that's one of the things I've done.
So what you're saying is you drive the speed limit.
Yes, basically, that's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Why would you do that though? At least go 5 over.
Yeah, that worked out well for you, didn't it?
No, see, I was doing double the speed limit at that point. That's a whole different story. But nobody in this city that I live in ever gets pulled over for going 5 over.
Okay. No big deal. Well, on to some more like Overwatch related topics. I just wanted to, well, obviously, kind of sucks that we don't have Hyper, but we'll ask Yeast probably the same question, but how's your experience in the game changed from like, transitioning from just playing alone to playing on a team?
It's been a whole different world, really. People actually fill the roles that every role on the team is filled because you have a person specifically for each role. So it makes it a lot easier, especially going into a match. You can actually get a nice composition worked out and start forming a plan from there. So
You have like those people you can actually rely on to do their job and not just
absolutely.
not just
that's one of my-
randos.
That's one of my favorite parts about competitive Overwatch. You get on a team with people that you can trust, NCJ, and
Oh,
it's just a lot of fun.
whoa!
Honestly,
That's a low blow.
Wow.
I was waiting for that.
So PK, I want to talk to you about your soundboard. Can you give me some of your personal favorites and where it came from, maybe like an origin story?
The soundboard, it had been something I'd been kicking around doing for a while, and back when I was still on this one open division team, I thought for the first game day, I thought I'd try to bring the hype, bring some laughs, just to kind of lighten everything up,
Drop
kinda
the Freddy
celebrate.
meme.
So yeah, I put a soundboard together with some noises. So yeah, just made that with a couple funny sounds that would go along with certain plays of the game, or just bad stuff happening. Something bad happens, you hit them with one of these. guys. Just get some laughs.
Laughs are always good. That's something I've learned, being a competitive Overwatch player.
Because you don't really play that well when you're super serious or tensed up. You have to be like mentally like kind of relaxed, because everybody's been there. Like you're starting to squint your eyes, you're starting to get a little upset, your butt cheeks clench up a little bit, and you start going for kills that you shouldn't be going for, and using abilities at the wrong time, and you're Tracer and you use all your blinks trying to kill the one Mercy who's just protected by your entire team, and then you get killed.
Isn't that how you play Tracer though?
Well,
I mean, like
sometimes.
one of my favorite things to do as Tracer is blink into the enemy team with no way of escape, just to struggle to kill the Mercy. That's typically how I play Tracer. I don't know about you, but
Tag me when Rocky feeds.
I just when I play Tracer, my play style is to just get all headshots into each character I shoot at and kill them in one clip, and then just win the game.
That is
yeah.
a good strategy.
Right.
I should take that into account when I play Tracer. To be fair, if I'm playing Tracer, the game is probably already lost. But then again, crazier things have happened.
All right,
Hashtag heal sluts.
Ooh. So I'm thinking we're gonna bring someone in, and then after that we can talk about maybe your team a little bit. So here, I brought in CJ. How's it going, CJ? How's your day, man?
CJ, you can unmute yourself. Oh, he left. He
Oh,
actually
bye,
just
CJ.
straight up left.
All right.
You know that thing that you had planned? He's having none of that.
Okay, since you invited me, and then kicked me out, I'm coming back. I'm inviting myself. Sorry, I was listening to your podcast and it's behind. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So, welcome me to the podcast, please.
Welcome to the podcast,
Welcome.
CJ the Legend Dog himself.
Okay. I got a few questions here.
Mm-hmm.
One, how long were you in jail, Bunny? Let's hear it.
Literally 7 hours, and it was still the shittiest time ever.
Okay. So, how many people did you have to kill in prison?
27.
27. All right. Next question. What kind of compositions do you guys play, PK, for competitive? Do you run dive? Deathball? What is it?
I think PK said BRB, so you might have to
PK said
wait
BRB.
for an answer. Yeah, so you might have to wait on that, but
All right. Next and probably last question. Who's the first person who's gonna get kicked from the team?
I mean,
Who's the
probably
worst?
Bunny. Like, if you want my honesty, I mean, we've talked about this a lot behind the scenes. It's just
Mhm.
like, I don't know. Sometimes we don't like bad boys on teams.
Another thing is he does have a criminal record now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if this is like a hospital or daycare where like if you have a criminal record like you can't work there anymore. But
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty serious thing like that.
I think you should consider that
Yeah.
of kicking him off the team.
Yeah, I mean, definitely.
No.
Definitely.
Probably getting the diversity of a gamer girl, probably like Jahunal in there. That'll really like give
We
you guys
actually do have a
sponsors.
gamer girl already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But is she African American?
To be determined, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't have an African American e-girl, then you guys are gonna have some problems. That's it for me. Sorry, dude.
no. I got questions for you, CJ. You see, because
Yeah.
I think what would spark an interesting debate here is Bunny here. He also plays Mercy for his team, right?
Okay.
So I asked you this last podcast, but like, what's your thoughts on Mercy as a character, Bunny?
I hate her as a character. Oh
I
wait,
said
that's
Bunny.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I heard the word mercy and I went into like a PTSD flashback.
Oh, why? Why is she so? Why do you hate her so much, though?
Why do I hate her so much? I
Yeah.
think she's a brain dead healer. I don't think she's fun to play. I think she's annoying to play against. And I think at this point they should either completely rework her or get rid of her. And since they're not going to get rid of her, just rework her.
They're about to nerf her, aren't they?
Well, I mean,
Technically,
they
no.
Yeah, technically no. The thing is, what they need to do to Mercy is scrap the whole res ability thing in general. Get rid of it and give her something else. Resing is awful in this game. It makes you feel bad. It makes Sniper is completely worthless in a
This
lot of
game
cases.
isn't about making you feel good. It's
know-
about
I
countering
know
each
it's
other
not.
and coming up with a strategy that beats the other team.
Yeah, but
I
here's
know
the
it's-
thing. This is an FPS, and a lot of people enjoy skill. And like one of those things, it's just like one of those anti-skill mechanics, you know. There's a
It's
debate,
pretty.
especially when you have
it's
like an esports scene. How can you be better than the other person when your ability literally just requires you to hit E, and their ability requires them to actually like aim a shot, perfectly hit it on you? You know what I
Because
mean?
here's the thing, right? I completely agree with them having to change her big res thing, because even though it wasn't that bad and you can work around it, it still felt awful and it still felt brain dead.
Yeah,
just
you
have a
had to
Mercy
let
hiding
your
behind.
team die.
Yeah,
Even then, like playing against it was a miserable experience. Your team is like finally coming out on top after a
Yeah.
long, grindy team fight. You manage to wipe out the whole enemy team, sometimes with a 2 or 3 ult combination, and then the Mercy that stealthily hid like 50 feet behind in a corner just like presses shift and then Q.
Yeah.
Oh, suddenly we have to do that team fight again, but with less ultimates.
Yeah, so it's completely ruining the ult economy. Because that's the thing. Even if you guys are behind on ults, you can just say, "All right, Mercy, hiding behind. You have your res. We're gonna try and bait out as many ults as we can. Mercy, just fly in and res them all."
So how would you rework her then? If you had to put her as something else, how would you want to rework her?
I'd probably rework her by giving her something more of a like a damage boost or
I'm back,
invulnerability
folks.
thing. Oh, welcome back,
PK.
We're talking about Mercy here and how I would like to rework her res ability.
Okay.
Okay, CJ, this isn't your podcast, so like ask a question for PK, all right? And
Okay,
then I'm gonna
PK,
kick you from the server.
are you going to kick Bunny off the team because he has a criminal record? Yes or no?
It's not my team.
No.
Whoa.
All right. Well, you might want to bring that up with your coach. He
No,
is a criminal.
I am the coach.
DJ, they're gonna kick me off because I'm bad.
No,
okay.
you're not bad, Bunny.
Anyway,
You're
CJ,
just-
I appreciate
you're
you coming on as
improving.
always.
There's
You're probably the best
probably
guest
a
we've
worse
had
of-
on this podcast. Also
Probably
the only
best
guest. But like, I'll
Probably
see
the
you in
worst.
the Nexus, man. You enjoy your day.
I'll see you in the Nexus. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good
Yeah,
podcast.
see you in the script.
Whoa.
Anyway, so
Shut down.
yeah, honestly though. So do we have another thing we want to talk about, or can I bring in someone right now?
I don't think Mercy needs to be reworked. I understand where you guys are coming from.
Okay, you know what? Like, here's the deal. Like, I don't disagree that she is slightly more entertaining to play today than she was when Big Res was a thing. Okay,
Absolutely.
the res ability in and of itself is probably the most broken ability in the game.
No, it is. It has to be, right? I mean,
Well, that's why they gave it like that little fucking pause where you have to sit there for a second resing.
You can take advantage of the pause. Like you can definitely blow her up. The right now it's the ultimate. The ultimate's just too good. That thing's got to get the
Yeah.
hot nerf. Just
But
reduce the time. Just cut the time in half.
Yeah,
it's a 20-second
Like-
ultimate that just makes it better. Like that's
It's
20 seconds
basically-
is a huge team fight. So
Yeah, it should be 8 seconds. Like I'm pretty sure like the
Zen's is
Nano
like 8
lasts a
seconds.
second, Zen lasts 8 seconds. Nano Boost I think lasts 8 to
Like-
10 seconds.
yeah, it's like 8 to 12 somewhere in that range.
Coalescence is like 8 seconds. That seems to be like the magic time.
That seems fair.
And the whole, I mean, my theory for the reason it was 20 seconds was back when you could have res on a 10-second cooldown. So that, all right, well, in order for that shorter cooldown to make sense, we got to have it last a long time so you get multiple reses off, which obviously that whole aspect of it was broken. But it's still, I mean, it's basically a nano boost because like you can either heal a bunch of people at, which is akin to the nano boost damage resistance, or you can damage boost them, which is akin to the nano boost damage increase. So just reduce it.
Yeah,
I
reduce
mean-
the time by a lot, but I mean, I think the big reason Mercy has these like high impact ultimates in the first place, like Big Res and Valkyrie, is it does have a lot to do with the fact that all the other supports like Moira, Zen, Ana, like they have some sort of like offensive contribution to the team, where like most of the time Mercy has her staff out, and unless you have like a Mercy that's like obsessively switching between the pistol and the staff at every opportunity, she's barely contributing combat-wise to a fight. So they have to kind of balance that for her somehow.
There is the damage boost, but it definitely isn't as impactful. It's like the damage boost is useful with certain heroes that can just kind of sit back and like a Bastion or a Junkrat or maybe a soldier that can take advantage of it just from a long distance. Well, the other thing too is that Mercy, like all the characters, like Mercy's balanced around her mobility. She has like some of the best mobility in the support category, which kind of balances out like her lack of mid-fight utility. Moira's kind of the same way. Like all Moira does is she does a little damage and she heals. That's it. So then they gave her some mobility. When you compare it to like someone like an Ana or a Zen, they have a lot of utility. But it's the cost. It's at the cost of they just kind of sit there and can get blown up. But yeah, the mercy once the Mercy ultimate gets brought in line,
Should be a lot more
I think
fair.
I think we'll be in a good place. I would say start with reducing the time, and then go from there.
I think they should start reducing the time, and if that doesn't make a big difference, I think they should start working on like completely removing res, changing it to something else. But I don't know. It's just like it's not really fun to play against that, right? When you're a God Widow like me, like half of your picks are gone. It's really annoying. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, the fact that Mercy exists actually is one of the reasons why Widow's really good right now. Because if you get Dove on as Widow, then you can get brought back and you get the damage boost. I don't mind the res mechanic now because you have to sit still. Like if you're running a dive comp and you blow someone up, all you got to do is like sit on the body, and she's either gonna go in or you can just chase her down. Again, it's when she's in the ultimate form that the problems arise because the reses are instant, and then there's just so much other stuff that she's doing.
Yeah, I just want to say welcome Yeast to the podcast. How's it going?
Sorry for late, but
Well, I mean,
Sorry for late. You weren't even supposed to be here, man.
I mean,
What's up?
hello. So we're talking about Mercy right now.
nice.
Yeah.
No, it's something that she definitely still needs work. But it's fixable.
So I have someone I think can ask us a question. Are we ready for that, or? Hello, fellow. What question?
Hello.
Would you like to ask some questions to maybe Yeast, Bunny, PK, or all of them, or like maybe two of them?
I mean, I have a general question, but have you guys talked about the new Season 8 changes?
No, not yet, actually.
Is that
what?
We have
the
not.
only one that I know of is the
Hold on.
formal based SR.
Yeah,
Or
Yeah,
lack
'cause I
thereof.
haven't pulled up right now.
yeah. Let's talk about them. You can bring them up if you want.
Can you send me a link?
Yeah. Send me a
I
link.
Just
can't-
drop it in hashtag general.
Yeah. Hashtag.
Alright.
Hashtag general. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, fellow. You're a great contributor. You're a gentleman and a scholar. All right. So yeah, lessening skill variance. That's good. They should do that. Removal of personal performance skill rating adjustment for diamond tiers and above.
What?
That doesn't affect
So-
a lot of the people here, to be completely honest.
It affects at least half of the people here,
I'm back. Sorry.
and it might affect fellow pretty soon if he gets good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Hopefully.
But I mean, I think for someone like me, that's in a high rank, it really helps. I like working with the team. I flex a lot. I play like a lot of main tanks and DPS, and I'll play healer and off tank if I need to. And like then you have people that are literally Symmetra one tricks, and they're at the same rank, and that hurts, right? So the goal here is to hopefully negate that without outright saying that one tricks are banned, because they said that they're not banned. So I guess this is kind of a way of doing that, hopefully without just banning them. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
It definitely
Well-
takes away the boost that the system gives them.
So I have a couple thoughts on a lot of this stuff. One is that even though personally this season, and I kind of want to talk about some matchmaking tips and tricks, so that's not as awful as it can be. But before we get into that, I think overall removing the game to game performance based modifier is good. Even though it's kind of been helping me, because I had this weird thing where I was actually winning a lot of games in a row. I didn't do very long play sessions, but I was getting like 30 a win, like getting 10 for a loss. So I don't know if that's decay or if my MMR was placed really high, but or maybe I was just getting good stats. And I play mostly tank too, so I don't know what was going on with that. But overall, I think it's a good idea because especially tank players, like it's very weird with tanks in terms of stats because like accuracy is going to suffer on a lot of the tanks because if you're a diva and like you could just be unloading into a roadhog or you could be contesting DPS characters which are harder to hit, so that's less accuracy and less damage stats. For tanks like Reinhardt or Winston, you could have a very high damage blocked statistic, but that usually is more indicative of like very poor shield management. You don't want that thing dropping from 2000 to 0 like all the time. You want to save it you want to like kind of save it and be conservative with it for times when you really need it.
Yeah,
and
100%.
then in terms of kills, like there are people who just play super aggro tanks and just suck up all the healing from their healers and just go ham. Just swing the hammer all game. And like, yeah, like it's flashy, you get a lot of medals, but it's not really it's not always the ideal play style. So I think tanks especially it's important. I think it's mostly with damage characters that those performance-based statistics mean things. But even then, there's like certain situations. At the end of the day, like the only statistic that matters is like should be your win percentage. It's like your skill to me is your ability to generate wins for yourself. That's it.
I'm gonna have to say I'm guilty because since I play diva, I play more of an aggressive diva. So like the healers usually always have to keep either like an orb on me or healing on me at all times because I play so aggressive that like I usually am behind their Ryan's shield half the time. So like I'm guilty of that.
Yeah, it can definitely be a problem because like if you think about healing in terms of like the percentage of your health bar that they're regenerating, a Mercy doing like 60 healing per second to a diva is only like 10% of her health bar per second, whereas on a Genji it's like
Instant.
30. It's like 33% healing, 33% of their health per second. And then you consider that he takes a lot less damage, and like a pocketed Genji is going to get a lot more work done than a pocketed tank. So and that's not something tanks really think about that much. A lot of tanks feel like they're entitled to the majority of the healing, and that's not really the case.
I don't necessarily think that I'm entitled to the healing. I mean, I'm just like a tank, and it's the healer's choice to heal me or not, really. But like you said, though, I'm not really entitled, but I do take a lot of damage that's unnecessary half the time.
I don't know. My thought on it is if you're out there soaking up the damage for the team so that they can place more damage on the enemy from behind, I mean, it helps to be kept alive.
Sometimes, but I mean, sometimes it's just smarter to just like play like any other character would and hide behind a wall every once in a while, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's something that a lot of tank players are guilty of. Orissa's as well. Like they'll put the shield up, and then after that, they'll just kind of stand in the open. They won't really duck and dive behind a wall or anything like that.
Well, then again, we kind of can't do that because since we're like, tanks, half the tanks are like huge. So even if we get behind a wall, like a DPS can really get us low. Like especially since I play diva,
no crouch.
yeah, or literally like no crouch. Reapers.
You can definitely make it hard. There are things you can do to make it harder to get hit. And that's just something I want to highlight though. Is like there is this big misconception that like you're a tank, you have to be just like taking damage all the time. You can play like really conservative and smart with your positioning as a tank to avoid face tanking like that. Sometimes because and then like let's say you're at like the choke point of Hanamura and your shield's down your Reinhardt, it's usually a good play to just kind of back off from the choke, and then you can even do a counter engage. They'll flood through, you get a horizontal pin on someone and get something done that way. But yeah, to kind of bring it back to bring it back home, I think getting rid of the performance-based SR is going to be nice, especially for tank players. Supports then would probably get the benefit next, and then the DPS. In terms of its effects on one-trick players, though,
it's going to be huge.
No, it's not. That's not why they
Well-
play. That's not why they play those characters.
It's not why they play those heroes, but you have to admit, like, having Symmetra mains who have like 35 to 40% win rate still be able to make it to top 500 because of the variance in losses and wins because of performance-based SR is actually like probably dumb.
Yeah, I mean they'll go down maybe a couple hundred points, but like they'll, depending on how aggressive the skill tightening is going to be, like in terms of the SR gaps within individual games, you're still going to see those players. Like
Mhm.
the reason they play those characters is like an ego thing. Look how good I am playing this trash character and still winning. Like they don't care. They're very
Yeah.
and it sounds like I'm trying to make it sound a little like hyperbolic and kind of funny, but that's honestly what I think it is. It's a total ego thing.
Yeah, from
They just
player to
wanna be the
player, it's
center of
probably
attention.
different, but I mean, yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, a lot of them are just really dead set. They're like, I want to be the best Symmetra in the world, like, you know, because it's
Yeah.
like there's 800 players claiming to be the best Widow in the world, or 800 players who are like, oh, the best Tracer, or you know, but nobody was going out early on when these one tricks started to like really become prominent. Like, it's being like, man, I'm such the best Symmetra.
Yeah, well, I mean, early on, everybody just wanted to be good at the game overall, and then a bunch of players realized that they couldn't be. So then, they're, all right, I'm going to be good at this character.
Yeah.
My
There's
most
this, like,
the most hilarious excuse to me I see from a lot of these players is, oh, this is my best character. Like, you know, or look at all these medals I'd be having. It's like, well, yeah, but if you're landing shots as Torbjorn on offense, I would guess that your soldier's probably pretty good too. You probably have some good gun skill, and you'd probably be doing more on that character. Like, and you'd be doing more to contribute to the win. You're purposefully playing suboptimally, which is that's what throwing is. Purposely playing suboptimally.
I think there's also this culture with the more casual community, and they really like people being really good at one hero. You know, there was like the time where Cody was the best Sombra in the world, or like Khepri's like the best Widow in the world, and that's like the thing that they look up to, and they don't really care about the pro scene. So they look up to these streamers that just play one hero, and then you know they become those one tricks, and then just kind of
Yeah, and then they feed off the attention because, like I said, it's an ego thing for a lot of them, and just the cycle repeats, and the comp games are ruined for the rest of us who are trying to play the actual video game. But
I mean, Blizzard makes the argument that like those one tricks are trying to play the video game too, and I mean like it's just a matter of perspective. Like from their perspective, I'm sure they're doing their best, right? And like,
no,
Don't get me wrong. Everybody hates a one-trick insta-lock Widow at every competitive game.
I mean, that's basically me. Did you hate me? That's someone talks to me.
You
Yeah,
don't
but-
insta-lock Widow, Rocky. Be quiet. You
you know,
just
he insta-locks Widow and then switches when it stops working. But at least like,
I
At
mean,
least it works.
At
least
least
there's
he
that.
switches when
Let's
it
get-
stops working.
I feel like a lot of people are trying to be apologetic for these people. Like, it's rude. If this was people playing, you know, 5-on-5 pickup basketball, and some dude was just doing half court shots all game long, he'd be gone the next game. He wouldn't be invited back.
no, you're right.
And they can say, and Blizzard can say, like, oh, well, people can play the game however they want, but I mean, people need to learn how to play well with others.
Just
like-
because they can play how they want is not like the right decision. On
And
how
that's what
people should play.
quick play is for. And then, you know, the one tricks will say, well, you know, quick play is super unstructured. That's what I don't want to play it. And it's like, well, yeah, that's because everybody's doing what you're doing. Essentially, you're getting a taste of your own medicine in quick play. It's just
Yeah,
very rude. People, and it's weird how like there's a decent amount of people who like are apologists for these types of players, and I don't understand it. I feel like they're projecting almost, and because they think they're going to be the one that's going to be hit next or something. But I don't
yeah.
know. To me, it seems very cut and dry common sense. So
Well, there's like a duality from Blizzard's perspective too, because like they're focusing on Overwatch League. They're trying to make Blizzard like they're trying to make Overwatch like the next big esports game. They're putting like so much time and effort into making people want to take it as a serious esport. But then they also come out with like, oh well, one tricking is okay in ranked, which is pretty much like it's counterintuitive to what they're trying to do with the game.
yeah, it really is. They are trying to make ranked out to be the feeder system like you get basically what they want is you get to GM and then you make an open division team and then you kick ass in open division, then you get to contenders, you kick ass in that, and then you're in the Overwatch League.
Hopefully.
But that doesn't happen. I mean, you either have to climb a solo queue, which is like RNG because of, performance-based SR kind of hindering
People
you if you
you
play
get
anything other
matched
than
with.
DPS, one tricks. And then if you want to play with a full 6-man team, you get piddly points. I mean, not to mention that it's like it's way it's harder to get an entire group of 6 on that you're like playing with consistently. It just doesn't feed well right now.
At the same time, I think they just sort of started this new path to pro back like a couple months ago. It was just you just got on a team if you want to get on a team and you just like compete in like AG and stuff like that. But now they have like a clear path to pro, and that won't really like be in action until 2018. So I don't think it's fair to say how that will go yet.
I mean, they've had the open division since
Yeah, but they completely changed the way it works because contenders, the first 2 contender seasons, the first was basically open division. The second, you literally had to win season 0, be in the top of season 0 to get in. So open division was basically useless up until now. It was just there for people that aren't good enough for contenders, basically.
I mean,
And now it's
our
like the
team was able-
precursor.
Yeah,
I mean,
basically.
our team was able to sign up for open division. I mean, nothing came of it. We lost a lot more games than we won, but I mean, it definitely it didn't seem clear what was happening. That is true. Like, because they didn't give a clear path after. But I mean, I'm optimistic because I'm thinking like besides this performance-based SR thing, they're going to try to make it more attractive to play a certain role or play with friends.
I want to see role select, but I agree with the valid arguments against role select as well. But
Such as?
well, a lot of players on the
There's a
ranked
lot.
ladder.
There's a lot.
Well, the main one that I'm consistently thinking about when I think about how a role select system would work. There's 2 that are important, but the main one is that there is a statistically larger number of DPS players than tank support and defense players. So like, how would you break that down in like terms of like queue times? But also, I mean, like when a team is flexible enough in ranked, which it's happened to me a few times, where people are like, you know what, we could probably pull off triple DPS here, and like a standard 2-2-2 comp isn't really what we need, and then we do triple DPS and like roll. Like how can you get comps like that when you have like a role select system that's statistically putting you in 2-2-2?
I have a couple thoughts on that because I've had these same concerns and I kind of thought it out. The big counter argument to that is that it's still better than nothing. So one of the fears that I had at first was that somebody would troll and like pick support category and then
Play like
pick Hanzo anyway. Because like one thing you're saying is definitely true. Like deep people who queue for damage, are going to have much longer queue times than everybody else. My answer to that is let them wait. Learn to play a different role if you want to get into games faster and rank up faster. Learn a different role. Don't just play damage.
That's not big of a deal, to be honest.
well, no, there's a lot of DPS players that are really high level. They just say like, I'll take the 15 minutes if it means I get a tank and a support player in my game.
Whatever. And then okay, let's say you do get that jerk who decides to say they're a support main and they pick damage. I mean, yeah, that's going to suck in that game, but who's to say that you wouldn't have gotten him without the role select in your game anyway? Not to mention, you would have gotten him and another guy. You get the you get the wombo combo of the Hanzo and the Torb at the same time.
Oh yeah.
I was
Even
thinking
though-
it would end up like it would be in a limited game where once you've selected, I want to play healer this round, it would limit you to strictly the support hero.
No, that would not work because the problem of basically what if you need to do some sort of unorthodox comp, you wouldn't be able to do it then. You should be able to still pick every character on the board. It's just it's trying to make it more likely that the people you get are willing to pick the characters you need. You're just maximizing your odds of getting those, those good guys that you want on your team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every once in a while, yeah, you're gonna get some stinkers or some trolls, but like if you can at least minimize the amount of times that you have the 3 mercy mains on your team or whatever, I'd say that's an improvement. And the thing is, for those unorthodox strategies to work, you know, people were either gonna come to a consensus in a 6-man in a game where everybody's communicating. You were gonna come to that consensus anyway. Someone's gonna come up with a plan, or it was gonna devolve into chaos, and people are gonna make YOLO picks that actually end up working out. Like roll queue doesn't negate any of the roll. A soft roll queue where basically you could still pick any character doesn't negate that. It just further minimizes the amount of times you're going to get super unbalanced teams of players.
I think another argument for that, even though I don't think roll queue would be good, you can just select all the rules you're comfortable with, and then the amount of trolls they'd be there, but you could just make it like reportable. If you're like lying about your role, and then you have this one player, and it shows next to their name on your team maybe, and they selected support and tank, and you can build around that, and that way you still have open up like triple DPS when you need to. And
yeah, if you could select like 1 or 2 roles that you're comfortable with, or even have separate SR systems for like each role, where like I don't know, like I could be like a diamond support main, but also like a gold DPS or silver DPS because I'm bad.
Oh man, that would get crazy.
I can see where you're coming from. Like they make it to where like at the beginning of the game, it makes you pick like what you want to play, and then it builds a team off around that. So like when you click comp, so you know how the new arcade mode where it says prefer Yeti or like
exactly like that. But I think there should be checkboxes too.
Yeah, like make it to where like comp. So like based on how good you play that hero, they base you for like different SR rating on depending like the type.
It doesn't even have to be your visible SR. Your visible SR could be the same, but like at least have the MMR system split up to show that when you queue as a DPS player, you're not going to be queuing at the highest levels, like in my case, for example. I don't know. Probably too complicated for Blizzard to actually sort something like that out, but
yeah, I know.
I really don't think it would be, because like I said, as long as you don't actually hard lock them on the hero select screen once you get them together, I still think it's a net gain.
Yeah, I think you could just make it so it just shows you just pick multiple roles before you queue as many roles as you can play. It just shows like right under your name on the team screen at the start, and that's it. You just choose them, and it just shows up there. I don't think it has to be more complicated than that.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the expectation that you'll fill that role. There's a chance that you'll get a jerk, or or you need to kind of shake things up a little bit, and you'll pick outside of that role. But the fact that there would be that kind of expectation in somewhat of a reliability that'll happen to you, where you'll get the balanced group of players, is still a net gain. Like it's not going to make every game flawless, but I mean, we need some sort of solution. Either that, or make it much more attractive to play with a full group of your friends, which is what I've been doing on my alternate account, just because it's more fun. But it's not really conducive. I mean, I'm mid masters and I hit GM on the Xbox, and we're climbing slowly but surely. A lot of us out of platinum, and we have a few of us in diamond now.
It's a pretty dramatic nerf when you stack as like 5 or 6.
Oh, five is the worst. Don't even bother playing with 5, because basically that means you're playing against other 6 stacks with a random, and then you're done for.
Yeah.
6.
Some of the times you can get lucky, but like some of the other times, like if you have a high group of people, like a player wise, they can get really it can get really easy.
Sometimes like I said, 5 I've found to be by far the worst. I would say 3 is a good number. I'd say if you're just strictly talking about like you want to get the most points possible, I would say 3 players, 2 players, 1 player, then 6 players, then 4 players, then 5. That's my arbitrary little list. And that actually that kind of brings me into something else, because going from season 6 to 7, season 6 I actually was struggling a lot. I would but the reason is because I was playing on, I was doing a lot of scrims and practices with my open division team. So the only time I would have to like do grind ladder matches would be at like 2 a.m., like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. That's just pissing your SR down the toilet.
Don't play
Because-
at 2 a.m.
Yeah, no. The best advice I have for people who are looking to like rank up, first of all, keep your play sessions somewhat short. If you get like 3 losses in a row, stop.
I
Just
make it
stop.
2. Like for myself, I make it 2
Yeah,
because I know if
I
I do
think
it
2 and
again,
even
I'll be
1.
down.
Sometimes if I lose 1 game, I'm just done. I mean, like not
I
recently,
mean, just
but
minus. If your play session ends up at -3, just stop. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
definitely. If
So,
you get
like-
to 3, you should just definitely stop. At 2, I would like definitely probably stop, and then at 1, you should consider it. I think it also depends
Yeah.
how well you're playing too. Like if you lose a game and you played really well, you think you played really well. It was just like you got unlucky with your team and that kind of thing. Then it's okay to queue again. But if you actually
Yeah,
just
that's-
realize that you're playing badly, you probably should just stop too. It depends on the
Yeah,
loss. You know?
I've
That's
just even
kind of where I
taken
was sitting with it.
context- What? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
So that's just kind of where I was sitting with it was if you guys did really well, if it was a really good game, but you still lost, like I would still.
I decided to just take context out of it and stick to my rules like very devoutly.
Yeah, I
And
think at 3
I
you could
found
just quit anyway.
-3 or also +4. If you go +4 in a play session, I usually just take the money and run.
I've gone at 7-0 before, so I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you don't want to stop.
It can happen, but
If
I-
you're
then
on a
again-
hot streak, you want to keep it going. The desire is there, but
Again,
yeah,
it depends
there's
on
a
how well
point
you're
where your
playing.
then you
MMR.
get those 2 losses.
If you
And
ask
it's-
me.
like I said, those are the ones that have been working for me. And then the other thing is that I would say the safest times are between like 7 o'clock and midnight, because let me kind of break down my theory. Is that if you play it like super late at night, you are either playing with and this is kind of at like higher levels, and this can affect even diamond. You're going to be playing with streamers who are like just, they're legit professionals, and they're just going to mix and match a lot of people. You're going to be playing with people who have been playing too many games all night, so they're burnt out and pissed off and not playing well, or you're playing with people who have like legit mental problems. Seriously. And that's a lot of bad juju that might end up on your team, and it's very unreliable. Whereas if you play from that 7 p.m. to midnight time slot, you're playing with like normal, more like well-adjusted people who you can actually have a conversation with about these games and try to win them, and like act like normal human beings. Like I found that to be good. You combine playing at the right time with short bursts of play sessions, and I think that's the way to go. And that's because that's what I found between last season and this season, and found a lot of success this season. And last season was pretty bad. It was the struggle bus.
Yeah.
And the only reason I got to master last season is because I put that stuff into practice in like the last week. I only played like in the afternoon for short play sessions and went up like 150 points strictly because of what time of day or what time of night I played those games.
It's sad how those variables can affect the way you're playing.
No, it's not sad. It's common sense. Like, I mean, later at night, people are generally more exhausted, or they're on like a really unhealthy sleep schedule, and probably shouldn't be like, you shouldn't be trying to like successfully level up at those times. But at the same time, I mean, like, there's other times of the day that work too. Like, didn't you do all of your like recent matches to get to GM like in the afternoon?
No, I did most of them in the morning actually. Like all of them.
Yeah, like
actually.
really early in the morning, like before noon.
Yeah, definitely
Like,
before
well,
noon,
yeah, I was
always.
gonna say because at some point early in the morning means super late at night. So like I'm kind of interested to see like what's the cutoff for you.
Yeah, like I don't know,
It's
like
It's like
10 a.m.
Yeah, 10 or 9 my time basically, which is mountain. So like 12 east, noon east.
Interesting.
I don't know. It just works for me. I don't know.
Well, we've only got a few minutes left, so we'll leave that there. But let's talk about what we want.
No,
Out
let's
of
drag
Overwatch.
in a guest. Can we drag in a guest? There's some guests.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's ask. Yeah, there we go. Hi, Junal. Welcome to the podcast.
What's your podcast you have, or your question you have prepared?
Oh, I was just gonna ask. A username is what makes a player half the time. You know how cool they are, and I just wanted to know where everyone got their usernames from. Like, what's PK823 mean?
Okay, so PK823 was basically I got Xbox Live when I was 13, and I'm not a super creative person when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I just took my initials and then some random numbers. And there you go.
Nice.
And then I'm a little older, a little more creative. So on Blizzard, on PC, I just made it the PK factor because that when I was playing, that was like a little nickname, a little goof name that when I was playing Titanfall on Xbox competitively, that was a nickname, so I decided to roll with that. So,
What about a Yeast?
Okay, so my name was kind of one of those names where like I had an Xbox name, and I was going to, because I used to use that for everything, but then I realized that like I really got made fun of for like that name, so I just kind of made it Yeast because one, it was a 5-letter name, and smaller names usually look better like in games, because most games like a 5-letter name looks more appealing than a name that's like huge, like 20 letters long. So like mine was just kind of random. I was just eating bread then. I was like, I'm just gonna put Yeast.
You know what?
That's-
What
yeah,
would have
that's
been a better story would just be like, I fucking love me some bread, and
Sure. I love all those extra carbs that goes straight to my feet.
yeah. So
some
Yeast.
of the best ones.
What
Some of
about
the best ones are when people
DeBunnynator?
get like random generated names from the computer and they just roll with it.
yeah. No, I agree.
Bunny, how'd you get your name?
Everyone's dying
Bun-
to know.
Bunny is an IRL nickname, and I
Sorry for you.
Did you get it in prison?
no, I did not get it in prison.
Okay.
No, my name is Peter. So my friend
Peter
couldn't
Cotton.
remember. Yeah, my friend couldn't remember my name when she first met me, but she remembered it was like the Easter rabbit, so she called me Bunny, and I was
My name's also
fucking
Peter.
furious. Yeah,
Whoa, plot twist.
There's worse things you can do with Peter. So Peter.
yeah,
Cottontail, don't do
absolutely.
that.
Peter.
Bunny wasn't bad, so I just said DeBunnynator because why? Why
So
not?
it's a pretty cool name,
I
Like,
think
when I look
the-
at that name, I just feel like you're a cool guy, and that's pretty cool. So,
Rocky, how'd you get your name?
champ. We're not gonna talk about that. So anyway,
No, that's part of the question.
we're not including the host today.
I heard this story and it's
You
real
did
weird.
not-
So
you
you
didn't-
don't wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking
Yeah.
weird, man.
Yeah.
Some plot twists in there, and anyways.
Okay, listen, I'll give you a different version. All right. So I'm in Africa, right? And I
Makes sense.
and I go to an oasis, right? There's like a lot of water, there's like a tree, all right? And like I look into the water really hard, all right? It's like one of those things you just do when you find one in. So then I see a rock, and I'm like, you know what? This is my friend. So I picked it up, all right? And I named it Rocky, all right? So then when I got back from the desert, all right? I go into my computer and I bought Overwatch. Like I literally just bought Overwatch, right? And it's like, and I had to make like my battle tag, right? So it's like Rocky, and that's the story. Now you know. So
Go with
Good
that.
enough.
What
So,
about
yeah.
you, Savanti?
What about you, Jahunal?
well,
she asked you first. Hello.
Yeah?
Is that how this works?
Yep. You have
Yes?
to answer it first. Dude, I've heard the story. It's really good.
Yeah. So I really like wizard names, right? And I figured that Savanti sounds kind of like a wizard name, so
And that is not accurate.
that's close enough, though.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm a wizard, all right. Anyways,
Very
Jahunal.
Hazardberry.
Jahunal. Well, how did you get your name?
It's Juno. But,
Get wrecked.
Jahunal. I think
Man.
it's Jahunal, but I don't know, dude.
alright. I'm a really big Elder Scrolls fan, actually, because
Yes.
that was actually, like, Morrowind was the first game I actually played, like, a buttload. So, I'm a big, huge nerd that likes to read, and I was reading books in-game, and one of the books was about, like, the religions of the people in the universe, and Junal is one of the gods of, like, the stereotypical dumb Nord race.
Oh,
Hey,
Funny
Junal
because
is
we're
like
just
the god
most
of like
humans.
of math and runes and magic. So like
She's
the
actually a
smart god.
mathematician. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a math
Right.
wizard.
Yeah, basically.
yeah, exactly. But the book listed that god is dead, which was like kind of hilarious to me because Nords are known as being really stupid. So, I just like Juno.
The god of math died.
I need healing.
Oh god.
Yeah, exactly. That's
What a
where
legend.
my name came from.
That's pretty good.
Alright, well, I appreciate you for the
Alright,
question.
cool.
You only get one question before I kick you from the channel. So you have a chance now to leave before I kick you.
Rocky's
So-
triggered because she asked him his name.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So we have CJ in here. Let's welcome our boy CJ back. How's it going?
I wasn't even trying to talk. I just came in here because Jahunal, her preferred name, cursed me
Yeah.
with Texan internet, so it keeps buffering. So
You live in
ignore me.
Minnesota, dude.
Dude, leak! Stop! I'm gonna get hacked now.
Oh, sorry about the docs,
You're right.
man. Sorry.
Leaks.
Do you want me to question, or can I just stay in silence?
Yeah,
ask a
you know what?
question.
You're in the conversation now. The podcast won't go for too much longer, so you can sit in here.
Okay.
So
All right.
let's talk about what we hope for Overwatch in 2018. That's what we're gonna talk about. So let's go.
It's not gonna suck and people aren't gonna be toxic. Oh wait,
Nerf Junkrat.
buff Junkrat.
No, hashtag Nerf Junkrat.
I honestly, I don't think Junkrat's that bad. Right now, I think he's in a fine spot.
Yeah.
I hope more of the healers become playable.
I
'cause
hope
here's
we
the
make
thing.
Mercy unplayable. How about that one? Let's do that.
I don't want Mercy to be unplayable, but I want other players like Ana and Zen to not be at a disadvantage because they don't have res anymore in Valkyrie.
Mercy's Kaplan's waifu, so they're never gonna make her unplayable.
Yeah,
True.
I like the idea of Mercy being playable because there's so many players where that's one of the only characters they can play.
You know what I say to that? I say, get out of my game, you actual bot. Okay, because you
There's
know
like-
what? I
I'm just
can
thinking back
aim
to season 3
and like
season 3 and 4 when like
I don't know.
Mercy was considered really bad, and like you'd have all these Mercy mains, and it's just all right.
They went through hell, you know. They walked through the fire, and now their hero is actually playable.
I
That's a
never
good
thought
thing.
Mercy was
I don't know.
unplayable. I
Yeah,
always thought she was in a pretty good
unplayable in
spot.
ranked, but she was
She was
no,
suboptimal.
the other way around. She's unplayable in like tournaments and stuff, like settings where the game is actually interesting. But in ranked, like she was never unplayable because you still had tons of Mercy mains. You had a Mercy on your team so often, it wasn't any different from now. But acceptable now, she's actually like more frustrating to play against. Well, I don't know. It's kind of debatable. Like both are really bad. I don't think they've ever made Mercy fun to play against.
I think
but-
Mercy just she got overshadowed by Ana because Ana, a more skillful player who can aim and knows how to use her kit, can
Will heal
outshine.
more and faster.
Yeah, can outshine even the best Mercy. So I think they're like, okay, Ana's getting a lot of attention. Even though Mercy's still playable, we need to give her attention. Let's give her a buff. And then they buffed her, and now they're like, oh no, now Mercy's the only playable thing, but we don't want her to be back in the position she was. So they're being really, really careful with her right now.
I mean, the other thing with Mercy that I think a lot of people were forgetting, it's not just her power, but I think the fact that like even though she wasn't as good, she was super annoying. Like just having the 4-man res happen is super annoying and not fun. And at least the Valk, like you can kill people through it sometimes if your focus fire is good. You can visor the Mercy to count. Like there's actually counterplay.
Yeah, like McCree or Soldier can still do stuff to her.
Yeah. If any, Jehunal, I agree with Jehunal in the chat. Basically, nerf the concussion mine. But other than that, Junkrat's fine. Because like, if you nerf the concussion mine damage, then he isn't so absurd up close. Because like, right now, I feel like it's why would you ever pick Reaper when you could pick Junkrat?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like they should just have the damage on a mine, and then it should be fine.
And then also,
No, I don't think.
a
I
lot
think
of-
that's too big. I think that's too big.
I've seen a lot of people say like nerf the tire or make it slower. I don't actually think the tire as it is bad.
They've
I think the
they've
ultimate
literally
charge-
done everything to the tire by now. They have like made it faster. They have made it slower. They have
They
like
haven't adjusted the ult charge time. They need to make the ult charge like take longer.
little
to
bit
get,
longer.
Like, you get less tires. Yeah, make it so you get less tires.
Because it's pretty common to usually start the fight off on a good note with Junkrat of getting a pick. and especially being able to get a pick on a support is like, oh man, like you have a massive advantage now. Otherwise, I don't think you can still shoot it down. It's annoying, but a good Junkrat will know how to get it around you. So yeah, and it's really easy. Just like get in the face of a Reinhardt, boom, 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 boom. You have ult now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like you make it take longer to charge, and then like if he has less tires, then it's not as bad of a move to maybe commit a sound barrier or something to defend your team against it. Because right now it's like, yeah, maybe you can use a sound barrier to defend against the tire, but he's gonna have another one up pretty soon.
Yeah, and then you won't have
Lucio
your
will
sound
not
barrier.
ult twice.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. Personally, like minus like hero buffs and nerfs, which arguably like they could do a lot of things in the next year to sort of like fix the game in like certain areas. But I want to see improvements to ranked. I also want to see like maybe an in-game tournament mode. You know,
What
things
about
like that.
Blizzard World? How do
That
we
would
feel
be
about
really
Blizzard
cool,
World?
actually.
Blizzard World. That is going to be choice. So good.
Yeah.
Such a good map.
Is that in the PTR right now?
Yeah. If you haven't
Yeah.
played it, like you really have to download the PTR and try it. It's actually like
It's a neat map.
it's okay. So if you're a big fan of a lot of other Blizzard games, you're gonna love it just because of the Easter eggs. But on top of that, like for a lot of different playstyles, it's actually a good map. And like that's kind of what surprised me the most about it. Like I played it a lot in PTR comp, and I played it a lot just in Blizzard World, like in the arcade. And I mean, there's obvious like advantageous positions like any other map. Like there's places where the defenders are obviously going to consistently hold. There's places where, you know, like dive comps are still good because there's lots of like multi-tiered areas and like open skies. But like at the same time, like it's just a fun map. Straight up. Like it's not like Junkertown where you're going to like protect the president every time. And like if you're not doing that, you're doing it wrong.
I think that strategy's easier to beat than.
It's easier to beat. Don't get me wrong. It really is, but like it sucks that you have to be like, okay, well, we either need like some sort of like double sniper or like super shield breaking comp, or like we just need to like play May or.
I don't even think you need that. All you have to do is be like super disciplined. Like there's a point like okay, they get on the payload, and then there gets to a point where not the first turn, but the second one where you're right under, where the Bastion's right under a bridge. If you literally tell everybody on your team just hide, you don't even have to peek them, and then you all go in on them at once, like with maybe on an anti-grenade, you stand a pretty decent chance. It's
Yeah.
The trouble is like, and it doesn't even require that specific of a comp to do. But it's
but the problem is getting a team in ranked disciplined enough to actually focus on that. Like you have like one troll or like one person who's not in comms, and suddenly it's literally impossible.
Yeah, or someone who's just shooting without thinking. Like,
and that's that. Like,
some people
like
go on autopilot.
it's happened. It's totally happened in comp where we've like first point held against protect the president, and you're just sitting there going like, wow, okay, like this comp isn't that broken. But then again, it's also happened in comp where you get that one guy who's not in comms, or that one guy who's like, I'm gonna not play anything that's gonna help right now.
Yeah, it's definitely easier if you queue with, like I said, you gotta have some homies with you. If you have a group of 3. That's ideal, because then like you own at least 50% of the team just by automatically, and then you have a little more leverage when you're trying to tell the randoms what they should be doing.
And you can also get more accurate callouts, especially if there are less people in comms.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think if worst comes to worst, all you really need to stop or at least kill the Bastion itself, is get a Mei on your team and then get a Junkrat. Because May's surprisingly good on first point. After that, she kind of loses it a little bit. She's still doable, but I think just boosting him up on a wall is really, really good. We've played scrims before where we've run, just Mei, and we've been able to hold them like right outside the door just because of being able to boost players up and using it to help Ryan get big pins that he doesn't have to go too deep in. I don't think it's that bad of a map. I think
so you
its
do the super spawn trap like right outside the door.
Well, kind of under the first bridge. That's more or less it.
Oh, okay.
I think the main problem though does rise in like quick play comp or Blizzard's comp. I don't know what to call it at this point. Where if you get a teammate who doesn't know how to, like, no one plays Mei, and then no one wants to follow up even if you're playing Mei, you're gonna have a bad time.
See, my problem with Mei is that, like, yeah, she can shut it down, but, like, if I see a Mei and a Junkrat, and I'm like, I'm like somewhat competent on the other team, I would just, all right, I'm going Pharah, and then you're done for.
Yeah, that's. But the thing is, what you fail to think about is in comp, there are probably 1 out of every 100 players who are competent.
That is true. I mean, and I guess it's a victory in the fact that, like, okay, they're not on the bashing comp, but if you're getting rolled, you're still getting rolled. Like if they just swap to a Pharah and do it, and then carry the momentum through second phase. I was actually going to say one of the things I want to see for Overwatch for the next year that you guys didn't already bring up is I only think there are 2 problem heroes in the game in terms of, like, being super underpowered that I'd never want to see on my team, and that's Mei is one of them, and then the other's Symmetra. All the other ones I think have their place. Even Hanzo and Doomfist I think have their place.
I'd say Symmetra's in a really bad spot, but Mei has been like F- tier since, like, the game came out. Like, she just has not been good at higher levels.
Yeah, I feel bad for Mei players because, like, I actually know a Mei main who's insane. Like, he's actually, like, probably one of the best Mei players that I've ever seen. But, like, he fluctuates so much in ranked because his hero is just like he'll get a good map pool for 4 or 5 games and he'll climb like 150 SR, and then, like, he gets maps he can't play Mei, and he plays her anyways because he's a one trick, and it hurts my soul to say that.
And again, I'm gonna stick to my guns on this. If they can play Mei that well, they can probably play other heroes pretty well.
Like Pharah, I used to call him Pharah, or probably
Hanzo.
just about Hanzo even.
Projectile, yeah.
But that goes back onto, like, one trick mentality where you're like, these people can obviously take the skills they've learned one tricking, like, certain projectile heroes and, like, apply it to another projectile hero like Hanzo or Genji. But they don't. They just don't do it.
I think Hanzo and Pharah are the best ones it translates to. Just look at, like, Siegel, and, like, he's really good at Mei. And
well, I think the sad part is if I'm a Genji player, right? That's all I play is Genji. I'm going to get maps that I can play Genji on, and I can be a Genji one trick,
but
and I'll be
different
fine.
with Mei.
But with Mei, now I have to switch. So if I'm one tricking Genji, no one turns ahead. It's like, oh, Genji's a good hero. He can play Genji. He can carry. But if I can play Mei, it's like, oh, he's a Mei player.
But it's less about not being able to play Mei on every map, and it's more about your team not playing around a Mei on every map. Like,
exactly.
you can
play around a Genji.
Like multiple 2CP, multiple hybrid maps. You can play her on certain escort maps. Like, she's actually good. It's just your team has to play around the Mei. Yeah. And, like, on Koth, it's even worse because, like, you literally, like, you have to take the point for her to become useful.
Yeah.
I think Nepal Village, Mei could be good.
Yeah, I think there's I think Mei is actually really good.
City Center Oasis, once you have the point, she's good.
My GM game that I played, there was someone who played Mei on defense and played her really, really well. Like, all the walls were actually PogChamp. They, like, walled off the Zarya every time, so we just got a free pick. And, like, pros do play Mei a lot. That was Temple of Anubis defense. And, like, pros actually do play Mei more than some heroes. So she's not completely unplayable. I think she's in an okay spot, to be honest.
She just, like, she's one of those characters where, like, you need to have, like, you need to be, like, above the skill floor a good amount to make her useful, and, like, your team also has to be willing to work with the Mei, and, like, she needs a lot to be good, you know?
That's the problem with Sombra, too, is I don't think Sombra's a bad hero at all. I was just, like, messing around with her in quick play. My friend was playing Roadhog. He had about 3 people on him, and he was just able to sit on the large health pack and able to live through it, because, like, it regens so fast, and he's able to do it. Her EMP
Sombra's really good. Sombra's even better against coordinated teams. Even better.
Yeah, but then you're circling back around to make sure you get a team that's done.
Yeah, that's why I said she's better against coordinated teams, and that's why in ranked she's really meh, because not only do you have to have a coordinated team, you have to be against a coordinated team. Like, an uncoordinated team is actually better against Sombra sometimes. If they're all over the place, you can't really get a lot of value out of them.
You can't get
her EMP doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, that's why she's good in pro games on, like, 2CP, because she's basically broken.
Your team knows how to abuse the health packs, and you can get big EMPs like that and shut down people's abilities. And I don't think she's a bad hero.
this is an out of place question, but what's actually a good counter to Mei? Because I've never found one.
She doesn't
Widow.
I think is the best.
I don't know.
I'd probably say someone like Hog. Hog can do a lot to her.
Sometimes it's just target focus. Target
sometimes
focus.
she doesn't really have a hard counter. One of the things I don't like about like the community mentality is most heroes don't actually have hard counters. Hard counters do not exist in this game. They do not exist at all.
Yeah.
Outplaying, like, people are like, yeah, if a Genji's good on the enemy team, you get a Winston. But, like, if the Genji's good, the Winston isn't going to do that much, honestly.
Yeah, he'll just run away from the Winston.
Yeah.
And then the Reaper or the Roadhog will come and destroy him. Like,
Yeah,
Roadhog versus Reaper is actually a skill matchup most of the time.
yeah.
And, like, I think McCree hard counters Tracer, if you can, like, flashbang
Land
If
him
you
up.
can actually consistently flashbang
Yeah.
headshot, yeah.
But here's
I've
the
done
thing: that
before,
Tracer,
so
if
it's
she's
definitely
good enough,
possible.
she will know to play far away, and she'll know how to bait out that
Yeah, that's true.
flashbang.
That's why a lot of this stuff is just literally just skill matchups. There's not.
Yeah,
I don't believe in hard counters, to be honest.
I think when it comes to countering, you should think of it more as like a character counters what an entire team is doing. So like, what critical
Yeah,
factor
that's
is
true.
allowing their team to succeed? Oh, well, their healers are just going around unchecked healing everybody. No one's challenging them. Maybe having a Winston to go in and get a little more aggro on them would be good instead of just having the death ball that doesn't chase down any one shots.
Yeah.
Or like you have to see what their team as a whole is doing to your team and then fill in the piece. Not just say, oh, that one character, that one guy on their team's carrying. Normally that's just a matter of play better and focus fire.
Yeah,
Because
I
most
mean,
of the time, even though you think, oh, this guy's carrying, there's a lot of other stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Like their healers are allowing him to get those kills. Their tanks are really being able to, get other people to focus them.
Maybe
so
it's even
he's
your team.
uncontested.
Like if the Zarya is carrying, maybe it's your fault that the Zarya is
Yeah.
carrying. If you're feeding her too much or something like that.
yeah,
Well,
like if
and
she
it's
has
doing
100
that.
charge all the time, like you have to start and like wonder like why. Like
Yeah.
good Zaryas are good Zaryas, but I don't care if the Zarya has like an average of 70% charge the whole fucking match. Like you really have to take a step back and say, did our team do that? I think they did.
Yeah, that's actually, it's funny that you mentioned Zarya because I think Zarya is kind of similar to Sombra in that like she's actually better against coordinated teams. One,
Yeah,
'cause of the
definitely.
grav,
Yeah.
and then two, because like when teams are focus firing, like coordinated teams, there's a lot of damage going in one direction. So you pop a bubble on a certain character, and that you'll get that 40 charge just like that sometimes.
Yeah, I enjoy playing Zarya in really coordinated games a lot more. There's some games
Yeah.
where people literally won't shoot you either because they're like bad and they're not coordinated, or because sometimes they're just smart. But a lot of times they just don't shoot you because they have a really weird comp and they're just not. It's not coordinated at all. Like 60 PS is really hard to play Zarya against.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll just die. Like you have 400 health, but like some of that shield and shield goes down quick.
Especially if people are smart and can aggro you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, the Zarya's low. Let's just melt her shield, even though she's probably gonna die afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually I think we were running against a team comp that had like their healers were Mercy and Moira, and they had a Zarya, like Reinhardt, and like the more I think about it, I honestly think Zarya probably would have made for the best dive target, even more so than the Mercy and the Moira, because they were just slippery little bastards, those two healers. Whereas
Yeah.
Zarya, it's like she has higher than average health, but she has no armor and she has no mobility, so she's actually not that hard to kill if you.
Well, you hit her with an EMP, dude. She's at 200 health now.
Oh god, yeah. Well, she's
Yeah.
useless basically.
It's just some maps you can't get EMPs. Like that's
Yeah.
one of the
there's
that's
some,
one of the
the Syrian Sombra isn't broken too. Is because not only
you can't play her every
is
map.
she only good with like coordinated teams and against coordinated teams, but like there's some maps you literally just can't play her on.
Yeah.
So
Good luck playing some points of Route 66 is she's good. Like she's good on like most 2CP maps.
Good luck on first point Dorado, though. Honestly.
Yeah, that's basically it. It's one of those maps where you almost would want a Sombra because like she could like really stall out that choke a lot better, but at the same time it's like the
There's
health
no
pack
health
placement
packs.
is horrible. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like there are no hard counters, but there's obviously like synergies that are gonna help in comp a lot more.
I like how
Yeah.
Rocky said the stream was gonna end soon, and it's been like 20 minutes.
Yeah,
when did I say the stream was gonna end? soon?
that was
Like
that was
20
me.
minutes ago.
Dude, you invited me on saying,
Yeah.
the stream's about to end, and it's been 20 minutes.
Don't worry, okay? Long podcasts, they're good. They're fun, enjoyable.
long podcast.
Go
Except we
till,
do
like-
have a scrim in 10 minutes, so we're gonna have to wrap it up pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
Do you need a sub?
Wait.
Me and CJ, we're on a team.
Shut up.
It's a pretty great team. I
We're
pretty much
led by
just hard
probably one of
carry.
the greatest coaches ever.
We don't have a
honestly,
coach. We don't.
Well,
we don't
probably.
Have, we don't.
You know,
have
we've
a-
got this guy called Evergreen on the team. I don't know if he's watching the stream or anything, but
he
he's
was.
probably the greatest player of all time.
Probably.
So, you know.
Yeah, he's a legend.
I usually just hard carry on Widow, and then when I'm not hearing, I'm just feeding usually. So it's like it's one of those things.
It's one or the other.
Yeah.
Oh, Rocky, what does LYL mean? I saw you do that acronym.
Let's see. That was that's what we call a typo.
Yes.
Yeah.
LOL, I guess.
No, it's supposed to be. Lol.
How do you?
That's
Oh, I
what
was
you
going to
know.
say, how do you do LOL
Oh,
when
yeah,
L
using
and O
next
are
to
literally
the
like right above each other?
Yeah. Well, you learned something today. That's not an acronym. So.
It's true.
It was a fail, not an acronym.
I was, did I tell you guys about the hot water challenge? Can we end this on a fun note?
Yeah. Let's end that on that. Definitely. Let's do
Okay.
it.
So I recently saw this video of a tiny African American girl, and the video starts off and it's the video camera is just pointed at some water that's boiling, right? Very hot.
I've seen that video.
So very hot water. It goes to the left and it shows the girl. She says, "Hot water challenge, y'all." I can't even do it justice by impersonating her. But she says it wonderfully. The video cuts. The video cuts, and she's outside with the water. She's trying to hold it from the handle, but this water is so hot that it's hard for her to hold the handle. Like you can tell, she's like barely able to hold on to it. Her friend like basically points out and says like, "You go get him." So she starts kind of like creeping her way over, and you see these two guys. And they're talking. One of them has her back turned to him, his back turned to her, excuse me. And the other is probably his like friend, you know, just like looking at him. And he kind of sees the girl, but it's like, what? All right, whatever. She gets close to the boy, and throws the boiling hot water on his back. The video then cuts.
Like assault.
The video then cuts. And the boy has third-degree burns all over his back. And
this is why we stray further and further from God's grasp.
well, it was his sister. The hot water challenge, y'all.
Isn't that an exception?
And then
Welcome to the internet in 2017.
Then I also saw a video
I
of two
just
guys
brought
going
it
in a
up.
speedboat at 120, and then they
Sorry,
flew
no,
out
And then they
tipped
nailed
across the
the
water.
I just looked up that hot water challenge video. That is terrifying. Who does that?
People that are dumb.
Well, it was a trend because the ice bucket challenge came up, and then that kind of started dying down. So kids were like, "I need something else to do," right? So the only logical thing was hot water, because hot water is also unappealing. But the thing about cold water is, even though it's unappealing, it won't kill you. Hot water can. But that part didn't get thought out so much. So they just did their hot water challenge, and they had some fun with it. You know.
I don't like a lot of those challenges, quote unquote. I mean, obviously that one's just not even really a challenge.
Yeah.
That was
The ice
some-
bucket challenge was actually
dummy
for a
book.
cause. That was just dumb.
The only thing I didn't like about the ice bucket challenge was that like people would take it to this level where they'd just say, "Dude, I nominate you for the ice bucket challenge," but they wouldn't realize the whole reason is that it's to raise awareness, and then you typically donate money to the charity. But it no longer became
Well,
about
the
donating
choice,
money to a
the,
charity.
the hilarious part is originally it was like either donate or dump the bucket on your head. And then,
Yeah.
like, everybody just decided to not donate money. I mean, obviously people did donate money. I actually read an article that that actually did work out really well. Like, they
Yeah,
did
it gave
raise
them a lot of money, but it kind of sucks that people didn't realize in a sense that this is all about ALS, and it's kind of flown under the radar ever since the challenge went down. People don't think about ALS
people
anymore.
thought it was just for like jokes and giggles, but it was actually
Yeah.
for a disorder.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. I mean, the ends justify the means. They got the money,
Yeah.
so.
They got the money, and I'm glad about that. But other like challenges, like I don't know if you guys heard about that Kylie Jenner thing where you would basically put your lips into a Gatorade bottle and suck, so your lips got nice and big. But that was dangerous. Like people
Yeah, like
actually
pop
got
blood
hurt to that.
vessels. Yeah, you can pop your blood vessels in your lips.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and
what
I mean,
we learned today is don't do it. Don't do
do
it,
dumb
kids.
shit.
yeah, don't do it.
Play Overwatch instead and be a safe person. Okay, and stay woke.
Yeah, it's pretty safe.
Yeah,
I like
usually.
this video where this middle school.
Except for the toxicity.
Hold up. We got a middle school video. Let's hear it.
Yeah, this middle school kid starts twirling around this broom, and he says not to f with him because he has the power of God and anime on his side.
Oh god.
Whoa.
It was pretty awesome.
That is
Those are the kind of videos I like. You're
I
watching
love those videos because the
messed up
thing
stuff
is,
where people are getting burned and
yeah, I like those videos because in 1 or 2 years he's going to look back at that video and he's going to cringe. But you know what? He's going to learn from that as a human.
it's a character.
He's going to
building
say,
moment.
"Wow, I shouldn't probably do that."
Wow,
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
And it'll be a
Yeah.
fun story for like his friends to be like, "Hey, dude, look at what Jason did when he was in middle school," and he's gonna be really embarrassed and try and stop him. And then they're gonna laugh and become good friends, and it doesn't hurt
Exactly.
anyone.
So what we've learned here is doing things like that, it gets you more friends. So keep it up, kids.
True.
More friends,
Gives you
always
better
good.
quality friends. I mean,
Yeah.
because you either are going to be super crushed and depressed and be super maladjusted when you become an adult, or like you're gonna like overcome the fact that like you had something
Yeah.
bad happen to you socially, and then you become an even better adjusted person than most people.
Well,
I
dude,
don't know,
everyone is
opposite happens.
cringy at one point in their life. Everyone has
Yeah.
done something cringy, and it's always and someone has remembered it or it's been caught on tape, and it's like I hated them now, and I still do when people bring it up. But like in hindsight, I kind of like it because now I've learned that hey, maybe I shouldn't like say I have the power of God and anime on my side.
Yeah, but then you'll look back
Because
and
you
be like,
don't.
"Hey, I went viral on the internet."
Exactly.
Oh my god, you've got so much shit that I wish I hadn't done.
I've seen like the videos of people who were like memes that have like grown up now, like early 2000s memes.
Yeah.
The girl that had the goggles on, it was playing the song. Oh my god.
It's hard to be a kid now.
Yeah.
It's really hard to be.
Because everybody has a camera in their pocket, dude.
Yeah.
If you do something embarrassing, there's a chance that like you're gonna be a celebrity for all the wrong reasons. It's tough, man.
And most of the time, it's like adults just saying, "Oh, that's pretty cute," but they don't realize that that has implications when you put that on your Facebook.
Well, I mean, yeah, the fact that you're putting something on Facebook in general is just bad. To be
Yeah.
honest
Keep
with, I
putting
mean,
it on Facebook.
Oops.
It's like one of your
Because Facebook is also
class
one of the
actions.
things that like comes across trends like 3 years late.
yeah. They're probably
All the
talking about like
moms,
damn
all
Daniel
like the
right now.
soccer moms are like whipping and dabbing. Like,
Check out the,
like,
check out the
Yes,
new meme.
Tapping.
check out this new meme. And she like goes to her kids, and her kids are like, Jesus Christ.
And she's got like the whole minion like meme format thing. That's great.
Oh my god, dude, minions
Alright.
are the worst things
So-
that happen in
alright.
the world.
I agree.
Before
Alright,
we start talking about minions,
so let's just. I think we should end the podcast. So I just wanted to like thank everyone for coming on. Eclipse, you guys are a great team. I mean, you're pretty bad in like, looking at it.
No,
in
no,
general,
no.
But like
They'll get
as
there, though.
a team in plat, as a team in gold, you're not that bad. Okay, like you're pretty bad on the grand scale of things. But like,
Wow.
ignoring
thanks,
that for a
Rocky. I thought you
second,
were supposed
you're
to be
not
moral
that bad.
support.
All right, you're not that bad.
Within your elo, you're pretty good.
Yeah, you're okay. You're at least maybe in the middle tier. That's what I'll say. So
You guys
I
always
just-
tell us we can play above our tier, like in diamond and plat, for some reason.
wait,
Oh,
who
I
said
know,
that?
like,
Who
I
said
know
that?
I can't play
Who
in
did
diamond.
this? Who did this to you? Who lied to you this
Hold up.
way?
Two
You.
things. One,
Me?
our Scrimrock, and
I did
two,
not.
I'd like to apologize for invading the last 20 minutes of your guys' podcast.
It's okay.
I
dude.
didn't. It was honestly a mistake. I just was buffering so much. I wanted to be in here and just
Yeah.
listen.
I
I
understand.
didn't want to
Honestly,
invade.
a mistake.
But yeah. Thank everyone
Okay,
for
I
being here.
finished my team, so.
I'm not offended.
So
Alright.
Yeah, thanks
let's all-
PK, thanks Bunny, Yeast. Unfortunately, I'm gonna thank CJ anyways.
Don't
Yeah.
do that, please.
Thanks for
The
Thanks for
bread
having
man.
me.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, no problem, dude. I thought, you know what? We're gonna have a podcast with Eclipse. Who's the most interesting person on Eclipse? DeBunnynator. That's obvious.
Bunnynator.
Yeah.
The jail boy.
So anyway,
No.
I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys later.
Oh, you mean
See you
Axon, the guy that tried to declare himself as team leader?
Did he? Anyway, let's not make the podcast toxic. Let's just
This isn't a political
let's
podcast.
just walk away. Everyone just hit the disconnect button on your Discord.
All right, see you guys in the next.
Goodbye, PK and
TBD.
Yeast. A piece of bread.
Alright.
I love you, piece of bread.
Yeah, let me know if you need me for another one. This is
Oh,
Yeah.
anytime, man.
Yeah.
We
We
would-
might
we'd
have
love
like
to
a
have you on
coaches
again.
podcast. We'll have like all the coaches. It'll be great.
That would actually be PogChamp.
Yeah, it actually was. So now I'm considering it. Let's go, PogChamp. Anyway, see you in the Nexus, my friends.
Bye. It's
Bye.
like a Hero of the Storm thing.
It's just a really dumb thing I say, and I should probably stop, to be honest. But yeah, anyway. So,
He really should actually,
Yeah.
but he's not going to.
yeah, it's okay.
Alright.
Stop trying to make fetch happen.
I mean, yeah.
Oof.
Oof.
Oof. Oof.
Oof.
So you guys need a sub, huh?
No, I'm just gonna end the I should have ended the podcast, to be honest. So I'm gonna hit
Well,
the
yeah,
end pod.
you can end the podcast and
Yeah,
have people.
see you in the
talk afterwards.
Nexus podcast.